Hello, everybody. Welcome to the DVMUG meeting for June 30th. Everybody say hi. We're recording, and take it away, Rick.
John.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. There is no mail in our Zoom mailbox today, so I assume everybody is running perfectly and there are no questions or problems whatsoever.
You notice Karn isn't here.
Yeah, and I
Earthlink
noticed
DSL crashed and doesn't work, and she can't get him on the phone.
and Arlene is not here either.
Can you help me with system 7.1?
I'm sorry?
Can you help me with system 7.1?
Oh my God.
Probably.
I love the launcher.
I,
7.5 guy.
Who's running 7.1?
That was me. I have to fix my Mac Plus.
Oh,
Yeah, we got copies of 7.1 at the office if you need to reinstall it.
I think I still have the floppy disks for 7.1. I think I have
I-
it back to version 4.
Absolutely, including disk tools.
Yeah.
We have a floppy reader,
cool.
Yeah, I have the floppy reader.
but it won't read the 800s.
I come into your screen when I come over here.
It might. I think we have yeah, we have an SC, we have something else that would probably read it.
No,
I missed that keyboard that came with the SEs. That extended keyboard.
oh yes, that was a good keyboard.
That was really good. Really, really good.
I bet you don't miss the original iMac mouse though.
No, we got some of those at the office.
Oh God help us.
The only way you could tell which was right was to make sure the tail was heading to the top.
Right.
I have a question if you have time for it.
We are now officially in Q&A.
Okay. I went ahead and bought a T7 Samsung SSD. And so I'm happy with it. What I'm wondering is, would it be possible for me to install Catalina on it and Final Cut Pro and actually do some work that way?
And
I
keep
just
your
don't-
old system, you mean, on?
Yeah, maintain my Mojave.
Yeah,
on
you
my
should be able to do
desktop.
that. You shouldn't. I
Uh-huh.
tried to install Catalina on an external drive, and
Yeah,
the security is so tight, you have to go through a bunch of hoops to get it to boot off an external, because they don't want you booting off an external and then accessing somebody's internal drive and stealing their data. So it put up a bunch of things to do, and I eventually said, forget about it.
Yeah.
But it is doable.
Okay.
Might be easier to put the old system on the external drive and put Catalina on the machine.
Do you already have Catalina running somewhere?
Well, I actually did install it on a spinning 2 terabyte hard drive.
You can
And
clone it. It's easier just to clone it to the SSD.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't think that requires the security hoops to get it. But I don't know. I think it was something to do with booting off the external that was, I don't remember now.
I think that's the problem.
It was like, oh, well, I don't really care, but there's too much trouble.
You have to boot into recovery mode and go into utilities.
Right.
And there's a setup in there where you can choose. It defaults to you can't boot off an external, but you can change
Right.
it where you
You have
can.
to change the security.
Right.
And you're in your toilet paper room.
Yes, I'm stocking up.
What I did do was not hard at all. Is just I just partitioned a drive that had Mojave on it and split it in two and put Catalina on the second partition. And I switched back and forth. That works flawlessly.
I had it on an external for a while, but I found some snags when I would go back from Catalina to Mojave. A couple things I had to reconfigure.
Supposedly, they don't recommend partitioning your drive to put Big Sur on it because somebody tried it and they said, oh, well, then when you do that, then your stupid old partition from Catalina keeps, when you boot into that, it just bugs you to keep upgrading that to the beta of Big Sur. And it's like, it somehow they're on the same partition, they inherit the upgrade privileges or something goofy.
Does anybody here use Parallels?
I
Yes.
use VMware, but not Parallels.
Yeah, I'm using, let's see, I'm using Parallels Desktop, and I cloned Mojave into a Parallels Desktop virtual machine, and then upgraded my machine to Catalina, and that works very well. Have Mojave in a virtual machine and Catalina as the main boot up software. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And I took a whack at it and it didn't work. And the Parallels Tech Help was horrible. So I took it all off.
Okay.
Did they speak English?
Not very well.
What is it you want to run in this 32-bit probably, right?
Yes, just for one app for the print shop. Does anybody know?
You want to continue to run
Oh my
print shop?
goodness.
I would
They're
like
not
to
making
keep
a new
the old
version?
version of print shop.
Do they make a new version?
Yes, but it's totally different and it's horrible.
No.
Do you have the latest version of Desktop?
Of Parallels Desktop?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I found it pretty straightforward. Just follow. They had very specific directions on how to do it, how to create a Mojave virtual
Well, I guess
machine.
I better take another whack at it. Or maybe
Just,
VMware is better. I don't know.
I had no trouble at all with Desktop, and it worked flawlessly, and it was very straightforward.
That's good to hear.
One of the benefits of VMware is if you have multiple computers, unlike Parallels that limit you to one copy per computer, VMware is a little more permissive, and they will allow you to install it on 2 computers or perhaps even more. I'm not sure. But I have it running on my 2020 16-inch MacBook Pro and my 2014 iMac on both. And it's the same copy on both, running flawlessly. Ken Marks sent me some material last week about the hard drive industry that was a little eye-opening. Ken, can you mention a little bit about that to people?
Well, they've essentially changed from what's called CMR, common magnetic recording. They've gone to SMR, and the main advantage to it is they can put more space on there. You can get a lot more data on there. The problem is for network or for RAID, it isn't very satisfactory because it writes first to the cache and then it writes slowly to the hard drive. There's a lot of material on it with some extensive explanations, but they've been hiding the ball on it. So when you buy, you really don't know what you're getting. I use them in an external enclosure for Time Machine, and I swap them out about every 2 years. And I was ready to buy a 4 terabyte Barracuda until I found out it was SMR, and I wound up buying a Western Digital Blue. If you buy the Blue, the 2 terabyte and the 6 terabyte of the new SMR. If you buy the 4, it's the old version, which for our uses should be better, although maybe for Time Machine it wouldn't make any difference. But just Google SMR versus CMR, and there's a whole bunch of material. It explains it in various levels of tech, so you can get an idea of what it is. It's just, if you're going to use a spinning hard drive, you probably should know about it.
The thing that seemed most despicable to me was that they don't let you know which you're buying.
That's right.
They don't label them.
They don't label them. Western Digital is starting to put out a little information, and now Seagate is too, but it took, I don't know, 45 minutes before I got through to where I could figure out which one do I want to buy.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame.
And they're just not recommended for NAS or for RAID.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well,
But they're getting to be really common because they can pack a lot more data on each platter.
Right,
Yeah,
that's-
the cost per gig is going to be cheaper because it's the same hardware, just formatted differently. Jennifer's got a question.
One of the main ways you can tell the difference is the new SMR drives will have a 256 cache. The older ones that are the standard will have a 64 cache.
And
My
that's
first thought was,
always,
oh boy, a 256 cache, that's what I want. Then I found out, no, it isn't.
Jenny has her hand up.
yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
She needs audio.
Yeah,
She needs to unmute herself.
yeah, hold the space bar down or turn on your audio.
There she goes.
Can you hear
There
me?
you go.
Yeah, we can
yeah.
hear you now.
Okay. I donated to a conservative cause on my Apple Pay, and I've just
Uh-oh.
been online with them because it didn't go through, and I'm mad at Tim Cook. A couple of times he's blocked my donations when I do it with Apple Pay. Apple Pay comes up and I push the side button twice, and it doesn't show up in my transactions. It only showed up once in May when I donated $50. And this time I donated about 3 hours ago and it didn't show up. And it didn't show up last week. And so I think there's some fishy business going on. So I
Well,
just
Tim
want-
knew you really wanted to donate to a progressive cause, so he redirected it.
Oh. I
Only
would
kidding.
think that
Only-
they wouldn't want to block it because they take a piece of it anyway, no
they
matter
did
who it
block-
goes
they
to.
did block it twice.
I mean, I don't see the profit in it for them to do that because they're losing income by doing that.
But so is the conservative, so is the Republicans.
Yeah.
So I just warn you. I was online with a specialist from Apple, and she couldn't explain it.
Do you know that it didn't go through? Or,
I know, of course I do.
or you just didn't get a response?
No, it didn't go through.
You got a notice that it didn't go through?
You don't get a deduction.
No,
I
did
mean,
you get a
don't
notice?
charge. You don't get a charge on your account. Every other account, I was at Target. I spent $31 and I got a charge for $31
Well, how do you know that it didn't go through?
because it didn't show up.
Didn't show up on her credit card statement.
Oh, it didn't show up on your credit card statement?
Yeah, a credit card gives you every time you spend money. It
Oh,
shows.
okay.
I would say you should contact the people you're trying to donate to and see if this is happening to other people.
That's a
Maybe
good
there's
idea.
something wrong on their end.
Yeah, because it could be the code on their website.
Yeah,
If you
they
donate
probably would
to
be, they want to know
on the
that it's
website.
not going through, because if they have a problem that's affecting a lot of people, they need to fix it. If it's on their end, they can do something about it.
Also, what credit card are you using? Is that an Apple credit card or?
Apple. I only use Apple.
Okay.
It
No, I
works
don't
out
have an
perfect.
Apple credit.
It
I
works
don't
out
have an Apple
perfect. I
credit
get-
card, so I don't know.
Oh, it works like a dream
Yeah.
till it doesn't. But
I would
there's
I would let them investigate. They would be very interested if multiple people tell them this is not happening. I'm sure they'd be on it with Apple.
yeah.
They
Well,
might
I
get
just
the
thought
money.
that was an
Yeah, but they have a financial incentive to try to fix it.
okay. Well, I just
But
thought
you said
Bring it
the
up.
second time you did it was just this afternoon, right? So
it
maybe it just needs time to go through.
accepted it in May 24th.
Okay.
Didn't accept
Was that
it
the
at-
only other donation you made?
only one that went through?
So you've attempted other times?
Yes.
Okay. I think you might want to talk to your charity
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
let them know that that you've had trouble doing that, and you're curious as to whether their code is causing the problem or if someone is actually trying to prevent you from donating to them.
Well, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, but you haven't let them know, right?
Well, I'm going to now, but after you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, follow through. Follow
They're
through.
the people that have the incentive to try to fix it because they're not getting the money.
Well,
Especially if a bunch of people are having this problem,
It's called, well, a lot of people don't look at you guys. How many people use Apple Card, your Apple Card? I do, but how many of you do? The rest
I
of you,
don't.
see, so,
Well, I do have a client who uses an Apple Card, and he's had a couple issues with it, with it being declined. And
I've never had it declined.
yeah, and it's kind of fussy. There's
No,
also,
I've never had-
it's not necessarily Apple. I mean, there's a bank involved.
I just spoke to the bank. I spoke to the bank and I spoke to
Mhm.
Apple. They're very nice. I
Mhm.
never had a problem. I've used it ever since it
Mhm.
came out.
Yeah, I would look at the code on the website you're trying to make the donation to.
That's what they told me too at the bank.
Right.
There you go.
So
Oh.
you guys, I just thought I'd mention it.
That's the most
Okay.
likely thing, is there's some kind of problem on their end receiving it.
Mhm.
The Apple Card, you know, the Apple Card is actually Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
I just
It's
spoke
just
to
Apple
Goldman
branded.
Sachs.
Oh,
Spoke to Goldman Sachs. I spoke to Apple. I spoke to both.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
I've
we
had
do.
an issue with Apple related to money just this past week myself. I've returned a couple items I got with my iPad Pro that just weren't working properly. They were adapters, Apple adapters, and they just didn't work. Excuse me, and the Apple techs confirmed that they weren't working. So I got the RM, what do they call it, RMO, to send it back, RMA to send it back to Apple. I packaged them up according to what, you know, took it off to Postal Index for FedExing. It got out to Apple. And according to Apple, they have, you know, I asked that they recredit the money. It's about $84 to my credit card. It never got there. And I did this many weeks ago, so it didn't get there. So I called up and was talking finally to somebody online. I had to use the 1-800-MY-APPLE number. And she looked on her end and said, well, we sent you Apple gift cards.
Oh,
I said, I didn't ask for Apple gift cards. I asked for credit on my Visa, but I didn't get any Apple gift cards. And so she said, well, they were emailed out on such and such a date. I go to that date in my email, nothing. I told her I didn't get anything. And about that time, it became really, really hard to hear her, and she was having a hard time hearing me. I think they were having trouble with their server. But she said she would take care of it. I was screaming in the phone, will you get back to me that something's being done? Yes. Well, I haven't heard anything from them yet. So something isn't going right with Apple's financial side right now. I can't say what, but.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Yeah.
I hate those gift card things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
why
Just
would
put
they
it-
even attempt to send you gift cards as a refund? That's crazy.
Well,
An
that's one of the
electronic
ways.
one, John.
Huh?
Electronic one in his mail. So he has to keep track of that stupid
Well, that
thing.
means you would have to, you're not getting your money back. You're just giving it, they want you to spend it with them again.
Exactly, yeah.
Like store credit.
Right,
Yeah.
I was screaming at the lady so she could hear me, not because I was screaming at her. And I said, I'd like that changed to credit back on the Visa. And she said, well, I'll do what I can. But basically, we lost contact at that point. So, you know, I'm up in the air on it.
I've been leaning towards.
Somebody got a backing up dump truck?
Yeah, I've been leaning towards Anchor for cables and adapters. I think they cost less, and I think they're better quality than Apple.
Well, the ironic
Yeah.
thing is that what I needed was something to go from my Mac Pro to my new iPad Pro, and Apple doesn't make the cable. You know, it's USB-C to USB, but I got it from Belkin. I also got one from Amazon. I bought 2 of them. Both of them work, and the Apple adapters didn't work.
When you're dealing with USB-C cables, you have to be careful. Some will carry power and some will carry data and some will carry both. They may look the same, but they may not be the same.
Right. Well, in terms of the Apple one, I got their USB-C to USB adapter, so I could plug in a USB cable from that to my Mac Pro. But Apple advertised it as working with the new iPad Pro. It's in the literature. You know, they recommended it when I bought the thing. I also got their multi-DV adapter, which has HDMI on it as well as USB-C, and that wouldn't work either. And maybe it's because it's communicating the wrong direction. I don't know, but.
So for moving data, I use these little, it's a SanDisk. So it's USB on this end, and then it slides to USB-C on this end. They're quite handy. You can get them at Best Buy.
Will an iPad talk to that?
If you have USB-C.
This is another
iPad
one.
Pro has USB-C.
Yeah, so if you plug in a flash drive with USB-C to the iPad, it will communicate with it?
Sure. Anything you plug in there that's USB-C that's a storage device, you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
This little cable here, I think I paid $8 for on Amazon, and it's Syntech brand, Syntech. It works very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the one that I bought, which was just USB-C to USB-A, you know, it worked perfectly. Just the Apple thing didn't, you know, so go figure. Anyway.
By the way, I posted a couple links for the hard drives on the DVMUG forum. You really have to read it. It's a little hard to just explain it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of stuff in it.
But it's worth reading if you're going to buy any hard drives.
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
Peter, just a suggestion. I had something related to, like you were saying with your gift cards, that mine was through another one. And I called them because I hadn't got it. I hadn't gotten a credit. And they suggested that I check my junk mail. Sure enough, that's where it was. And I hadn't thought of doing that. So that's just a suggestion.
Oh, thank you. I did check the spam folder, but yeah, I appreciate the suggestion.
There's another thought on that too. Sometimes your ISP will block an incoming email as junk and then block it in such a way that it never gets to your email client. If you use Apple Mail, for example, the only way you can find it is to go online to their web-based mail and dig it out there.
Yeah, well, and I've been doing that too. Yeah. But thank you.
Or sometimes your ISP will block it altogether. On Ann's server, 80% of the email is thrown away, never delivered anywhere. If it rates really high in the spam, it's just thrown away.
Oh, geez.
And there's never anything that's in there
has to be really bad.
It has to be really bad. 80% of the email in the world is just pure junk. Like it rates, you know, if it's rated 5 points, it's marked as spam and delivered. 10 points, over 10 points, it's thrown away. And this mail is usually like 20, 30 points. It's like ridiculous.
I don't imagine that a gift card would merit more than 5 points.
No, and it's from Apple. It's from a trusted ISP.
Right.
Whenever I look in my spam folder, I'm amazed at how wealthy I've become with all the giveaways and prizes and people all over the world having checks ready to endorse over to me. It's amazing.
Yes.
Any other pearls of wisdom or queries of?
Yes, I have a question. So the frequent pop-up on an iOS device that says this accessory may not be compatible, whatever it says, which happens all the time. It seems like lightning cables have a certain lifespan before you start getting that pop-up, even though it appears to still be working.
Well, lightning cables have to be certified from Apple to do syncing. A lot of the cheap ones that are sold, they charge, but they will not sync because those cables have little chips in them. And the cheap ones don't have that. So they're fine for, you know, that's probably what it's saying. You know, you can't synchronize this. You can only charge. That might be what's going on. Where are you getting these
No,
cables?
it's still syncing okay because I sync to my Mac.
Okay, well,
And,
that's probably okay
and
then.
it is a high-end cable, but it just pops up from time to time. There's no way to turn that off, right? That pop-up.
I don't think so. I get it periodically too.
Sometimes I get the one that says your device is using too much power, even though it's plugged into a USB powered hub.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those messages in a long time.
It's very random.
Some of you, we talked about YouTube TV a week or so ago and how I was so pleased with it. Well, I got a note at $49.99 a month. I got an email today saying that, aren't you lucky we've added 8 more channels and we're gonna change the price to $64.95 a month.
No!
Such a deal.
For 8 more channels that you don't care about.
And I don't care about them, yeah.
They don't have tiers about you can buy certain channels or not.
I wish. The one thing I love about it is the unlimited DVR. You know, like last Thursday, I haven't watched it yet, but they had one of my favorite old movies with Jack Webb in it called Pete Kelly's Blues on Turner Classic Movies. And Thursday night is Mystery Night on KQED. So we recorded it and it's there and it'll stay there for 9 months for us.
So Sling has the deal where it's a la carte. You can only buy certain channels and, you know, $10 a pop for this package or that package, the sports package. They segment it all out.
Yeah. Well, I may
a la
check
carte
that out.
TV.
I'm very pleased with the YouTube. It'll let me run 3 different TVs at once on 3 different channels or the same channels if I want. And you can have 5 different accounts in the house. People have their own stuff, but $65 is that's a big bite out of a $50 a month fee.
And that wasn't originally when it came out. It was cheaper than that too.
Yeah, it was cheaper. Of course, I wasn't a member then, but I signed up at $49 a month, and I've just been tickled to death with it. But boy, I don't know about $65 a month.
You're probably one of the lucky ones.
Rick, they're using the Xfinity program for raising money.
Yes, yeah. So good, are they? Oh well. Okay. So has anybody got Intel stock? 'Cause I'm just wondering if it's time to dump it.
It might be.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So nobody wants to give me any advice. Huh? Okay. Anyway, shall we move on or any other questions? Oh, one other thing, the Eero mesh system that I installed a couple of weeks ago, superb, just superb. Very strong throughout the entire house and even out onto my deck and into my garage. And just really, really super.
Somebody's phone is ringing. Mute yourself.
Can you elaborate, Rick? Can you give us more information regarding it and how many nodes and how was it installed?
Well, I overbought. I got the Eero Pro, and it has 3 nodes. My house is kind of T-shaped instead of L or square, and I have the main one in my office, which is wired. I have one in our great room, which is also wired because I have an Ethernet cable running outside and then back inside. And then I have a wireless one out in my wife's studio, which used to be our living room. And one of it's not cheap. It was $500.
Yikers.
But wow, it just installs so beautifully. It gives you reports as to how many, what your average download speed is, average upload speed, any kind of failures. It gives you a report as to signal quality on the wireless ones. On the wired ones, of course, it just shows that they're wired. But it seems to be rock solid. And one of the complaints I had read earlier was that in connecting to 2.4 gigahertz equipment like the Ring doorbell, that some people had problems with that, but apparently they whipped it because it shows as one SSID, but it automatically selects 2.4 and 5, whichever is best for that particular device. And I had no trouble at all connecting the Ring doorbell or any of the other things, any of my Amazon Echoes. We have 3 of those. And it just works beautifully.
I've installed several different types of mesh networks, and Eero is absolutely 100% the best.
Yeah, I am really knocked out with it. I think it's good. I probably could have gotten by with 2 nodes, but I figured I got a check from some guy in Washington, and I figured I'd put it back into circulation. And so I pungled up some of that money and put it back into circulation.
How patriotic of you.
Also, Eero is not made in China. It was assembled in Vietnam. So I don't know.
Are they the one that's owned by Google or Amazon?
Google.
Amazon.
Is it Amazon?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
I thought it was Google.
Amazon and Google both bought these mesh companies. They each own one of them.
I'm pretty sure it's Amazon, because I was going to buy an Eero Pro the other day, and it says to buy at Amazon.
Well, they sell it at Amazon.
Yeah, I bought it from B&H.
I heard it was sold to Amazon, actually. Yeah.
Maybe. I bought it from
Amazon
B&H.
bought one of those companies, and Google bought one of those companies.
I used my Payboo card, and the receipt I got showed that I paid $40 some odd in tax, but the receipt that they didn't send me was the one online where they reimbursed me the $40 some odd in tax.
Okay, this ad says Amazon Eero Mesh Wi-Fi router.
There you go.
So I think it is Amazon.
Yeah, so it's Amazon. Okay, but boy, I'm sure pleased with it. And they have local support in San Francisco. As I spoke to a guy yesterday, I had a question.
That's in their name now.
Yeah,
Amazon
well,
Eero.
it's really neat. Tiny little squares, about 5-inch squares with a little slight dome, about 1.5 inches high at the highest. Each of them has an Ethernet port, an extra Ethernet port, so that it's really foolproof. It does not have a USB port like the old Apple Airport Extremes did. That's one thing that's kind of nice about the Extremes. It has USB, but I don't need the USB anyway because both of my printers are wireless. So anyway, that's what I have there. So shall we move on to Keynote? Okay, so let's go to share screen. And let's see. I have to open it, don't I? What's this? iPhone, iPad via AirPlay. Can I do that? Can I show it? Let's try it and see. No, cancel. It says a plugin is needed. I don't want to install that now. Share computer sound. And yeah, I better start up. I'm gonna hide you guys. Hide.
To 36 people.
Yeah, I'm going to exit full screen. There we go. And open Keynote. There we go. And go back to Zoom. Turn on screen sharing. Okay, can you see the splash screen?
Yep.
Okay, happy 4th of July, everybody. So we'll run through the Q&A, which is there, not there. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about some security issues that have come up. Google has announced some new privacy plans, and we're going to talk about amongst us as to whether they'll really protect you from Google or not. You can take this to the bank, though. PC Magazine had it hit it right on the head. Simply put, Google isn't in the business of offering free services without some benefit for Google. And I believe that. On June 24th, Bloomberg revealed that Google will now delete more user data after 18 months. New Google accounts will be automatically set to delete after 18 months, but not you. Those with existing accounts can invoke these new settings or even take closer control of their data. This covers all Google functions: YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, Google+, social networking, and Picasa. Google Books, Google Wallet, and Google Chrome will maintain separate privacy policies. The guess is that this is done to provide more compliance with the EU rules of privacy. I got a typo here. So if you watch YouTube or visit somewhere you found on, I don't know what GAMS is, you might find an ad related to those activities. What can you do? Stay tuned. So yeah, so you can change the settings yourself by going into your Google account, and on your welcome page, you'll see several choices. For instance, this would be your welcome page. So you can go to security issues, privacy and personalization, privacy checkup, but you may want to do the privacy checkup and find out what's going on, but you want to go into privacy and personalization. Again, this is your Google homepage. So when you go to your homepage and go into that section that we talked about, you can choose to delete activity older than 3 months, older than 18 months, or don't auto delete at all. And the best, I guess, you can get out of it is to auto delete activity older than 3 months. And that's what I've opted to do. I don't think there's a way to stop it at all.
Yes,
but
there is.
But I
Absolutely. Rick,
I saw something. I'm getting to it, John.
Okay.
But I saw something in there that said pause. Is that what we were talking about, John?
Yeah, I've turned it off since 10 years ago. I turned it off. They don't track me at all.
Okay. So let's go into Google and you can show me where it is. Let's go here. Go to Safari and let's go to the Google search engine so that I don't have to worry about that, and log into my account.
We're not seeing you doing this.
Oh, you can't?
No, you're sharing the keynote still.
Okay, resume share. No, you're right. Okay, pause share.
Rick, get out of the keynote and then bring up the Google separate, one at a time.
So quit keynote completely, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No, I think when you share, you choose whether to do keynote or your whole, something like that, your whole screen.
Yeah. All right, still learning. Okay, now sharing screen, going to Google. Okay, got it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so take us there, John. We'll go to privacy and personalization.
I'm looking right now. I'm hunting.
Now I have my location history paused.
Right. That
And
means
here-
they're not tracking that. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So-
I have all three of those off. So your web and app activity is on. You want them, if you don't want them tracking, you pause that.
Okay.
Manage activity. Pause.
Include voice.
So now they don't just delete it. They don't even collect it.
Very good. Now I do want to keep the YouTube on because they keep track of my recordings on YouTube TV.
Okay.
But auto delete is on, and let's look at manage activity. So this is the activity that I had today.
Here's something that they don't talk about is they track your search.
Yes,
If you don't
here
turn
it
it
is.
off. Yeah, turn that off. So they don't track your search. Right there. Delete your search history.
Okay. Don't show again for 30 days. That still doesn't stop it though.
Mine is set to not track my search history. It has been forever. I gotta find out where it is.
Auto delete on.
I have web and app activity pause, location history pause, YouTube history pause.
Web and app. Now I wonder if this little guy here, yeah, here it is. So go back to that. And you see the little switch here?
There you go.
Click this guy and click pause. And you're clean and green.
I'll go back and see in the activity controls, my three are paused. Always have been.
It says not saving activity.
Yeah.
Your web and app activity is off. And then just for safety, I have still delete any activity older than 3 months. And there, yeah, it is off.
Okay, go back to where you see the three of them.
How doesn't that affect your DV?
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That says it's still on. Oh, it's off. It just you have to refresh the page probably.
Yeah.
Hit the refresh button up on the bar up at the top. Yeah, refresh that page. There you go.
Doesn't that affect your YouTube?
No, YouTube is still on.
I have my YouTube off and it works fine. I watch it on my Apple TV. It knows all about me.
But I use it for
track my
YouTube TV. It keeps track of the shows
I don't think that's the same thing. I could be wrong though, because I don't have YouTube TV.
Yeah, I do. I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I found it the other day and it showed all the stuff that
I think that has to do with.
had watched.
Let me start my video. I think that has to do with the history of what you've watched on YouTube.com, the YouTube videos. I don't think that's related to your YouTube TV.
Oh, well, like it said.
But I could be wrong.
It had a lot of MSNBC, pardon me, Jennifer, but a lot of MSNBC and CNN and.
But you don't watch those on the YouTube.
Places.
You don't use the YouTube app to watch those, right? That's
No,
YouTube TV.
I watch them on YouTube TV. I don't.
Right,
I don't
so that's a
watch
separate
anything on
thing.
YouTube app.
Well, then you can probably. Then it doesn't matter. But
Well,
I watch YouTube TV not YouTube TV. I watch the YouTube app on the Apple TV, and I watch several shows that come on like mini 5-minute things or 20-minute things every week. And it does, and I have them saved as subscriptions, and it notifies me when there's new episodes, but it doesn't track the history of whether I watched them or not.
Tell me one more time the difference between YouTube TV and the YouTube app.
The YouTube app is free, and YouTube TV is an alternative to your cable TV service that you watch as streaming, including local channels and mini cable channels, about 80 channels.
The YouTube TV, the YouTube app on Apple TV or any device, or if you go to youtube.com in a web browser, it's all the same stuff. It's to watch YouTube content that's on youtube.com. And there are what they call quasi TV shows on there, regularly scheduled stuff on there that gets, that's where they run it.
Basically, you have to go and pick something that you want, find it and specifically ask to watch it. It's not streaming.
No, it is streaming.
Well, I mean, it's not, you don't just turn it on and it's in progress or something. Sounds like.
Well, you got to watch that, because if you start watching a certain series, when one video ends, it just starts playing the next one.
Okay.
If you fall asleep, it just keeps playing all night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so, I think I've got a little better idea. Thanks.
But what you do on youtube.com is you subscribe to people. They're called channels. I have a channel, DVMUG, that's where we post these recordings of this Zoom meetings are on the DVMUG YouTube channel, they call it. And so if you subscribe to that, it'll be in your list, and you can see all the old, you go there and you see everything that channel has, and you can watch it.
Get it, Deb, can you?
You can watch it on Roku or Apple TV or smart TVs. Almost anything that has streaming service on a TV set has the YouTube app.
Right.
You log into it with your Google account, and then you subscribe to channels. So when you go back, you can find stuff that you like to see that gets posted, repeatedly, because it's free. I mean, anybody can post stuff there.
John, when you have your videos posted on your channel, do you have any control over how they are organized?
Yeah, you can, when you post, you can say this is totally private, or this is public, or there's some setting in between.
Not so much that. What I mean is, I noticed that YouTube doesn't tend to be chronological necessarily. And if you have a long list of stuff that's over the months, it can be scrambled up and very hard to locate.
Well, when you go to the DVMUG channel, it's chronological.
Okay.
It has the newest things at the top.
And
you can move them. If you subscribe to things, you can move them up and down.
As a user, you can move them up and down, rearrange them?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I have probably 50 subscriptions. Most of them, nobody ever posts there. Somebody posted once years ago, and then it just sticks there. And Ann has a channel. I don't even know what's there. I scroll through the list. I see all people's names that I recognize. And then some people post every week. Jay Leno posts a 20-minute video from his garage every week, and then he sends you an email. There's a new episode, and you can go watch it.
Okay. It's sort of a Facebook syndrome that I've noticed. If you do Facebook, which I do once a week or so, and you find a post you like, if you want to share it with somebody, maybe if you're Johnny on the spot and get it right to them, it's possible.
Oh no, if you leave the Facebook newsfeed page and come back to it, it's different. Yeah. In 30 seconds, it's gone.
It's gone. Everything's totally
gone.
And it isn't like sequential. It's just mixed away somewhere.
That frustrates me sometimes. I see something. The good thing is when you click on it, it opens in another tab, so you can go back to the other page and it's still there. But if you go away and close the page and reopen it 30 seconds later, it's a different news feed.
Yes, it
And
is.
you go, I wanted to see that. Where is that? You can't find it.
Right.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, I agree.
So can I ask a couple of questions about this anonymizing Google search? One thing
You're talking
is,
about
I wonder
start page,
if
you mean?
if you have it not track you, does that make your search results dumber?
Yes.
Does it use?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if they remember your history going back forever and you go to search for something and it's in your history, that's going to bring that up higher because you've been there before, so they know you're interested in it. Absolutely, it affects it.
And so,
but I've had it turned off for 10 years and I don't have any problem using Google.
Okay. And aren't you more worried about tracking cookies from all sorts of other sites
No, I don't.
than Google?
Cookies are a good thing.
Yeah.
Nobody worries
I
about
agree.
their cookies. Cookies help you. When
Well,
you go to a website, it remembers
Cookies
who
are your
you
friend.
it remembers who you are, so you don't have to re-customize the page, and it remembers all your settings and stuff. Yes,
Yeah,
they track you from site to site. So if you go, I go and buy a computer part by a certain part number, and then I go to Facebook, I see an ad for that, even though I just bought it. Well, that's the tracking cookie. But who cares? They're going to show you an ad anyway. So what if they show you an ad of something that you were interested in? Would you rather see an ad about something you're not interested in?
There's
You're
a
still
good
going to see an
utility
ad.
out there named Cookie by Sweet Pea Productions. It's $20 worth every nickel of it. You can list your favorites, of whatever cookies you want to retain, and you can set it to delete everything else on any time schedule you want. I have mine set to when I quit the browser, it deletes all the cookies I don't mark as favorites. It deletes all the tracking cookies, so you don't have to go in and periodically weed out any of your cookies that have mounted up in a mountain over a period of time. It's one of the best utilities I've ever found. Been using it for several years now.
Can you say the name again?
Cookie, it's by Sweet Pea Productions.
Okay.
It's almost an indispensable piece of software. I'll post a link to it online. Plus the support is top notch. You send in a question, the guy responds almost instantly. Very, very good piece of software.
What I don't recommend is go in and delete all your cookies.
Right.
You may be in a world of hurt because you go back to your bank or you go here and they don't know who you are. Everywhere you go, you have to retell them who you are, all your preferences. It's like preferences for every web page. If you do that, if you have multiple Google accounts, they're all gone. You have to go re-enter them all. Whether if you leave the Google cookie in there, you go there and you get a list of choices of people you want to log in as. It's a pain in the butt if you delete it.
I have, I think, 24 cookies that I keep, and I could run up to 50 or 60 if I'm browsing the web. When I quit the browser, I'm back down to 24 cookies, and all the tracking cookies are gone.
How much does it cost?
$20. 20.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like it when I go to the New York Times, which I subscribe to, or a Washington Post, or a Chicago Tribune, or any
and it
place
says,
where
welcome
I
back,
subscribe.
Rick.
Yeah.
And if you
it
delete the
saves
cookie
me-
for it, it'll go there and say, huh, who are you?
Who are you?
Log in.
Sign
Put
into
in your
your
name.
account if you have one. Yeah. Yeah, I don't object too much to that. And I agree that they're going to show you an advertisement anyway. So why not show me something that I might probably be interested in?
Right.
So
it's
how
creepy if you go and you search for something and you buy it and it's very specific, and then you go somewhere else and you see an ad for that 30 seconds later, you go,
yeah.
huh? Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
It is creepy.
It's business.
Yeah.
What is it the mafia man said when he shot his buddy in the face? It's only business. So how else can I keep a secure web presence? You can choose an alternate search engine. And there's two ways to do that. One, you can choose a search engine called DuckDuckGo, and we're going to talk more about that. In fact, I've got a really good video on that. Or you can use startpage.com. Startpage, I talked about last week. Startpage uses Google, but gives you anonymous view. You can see down here the blue box. This is what you'll see when you go into anonymous view. This picture of a guy with a paper bag over his head. And nobody knows anything about where you are or who you are or what you're looking at if you're in anonymous view. So when you do a search on Startpage, it'll offer you the option of going to anonymous rather than click the link. So let's talk a little bit more about this. There. So which is best? Well, I'm not sure there is really any best, but if you absolutely don't want ever for any information to be collected, then you want to use DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is never going to betray you, as far as I know. If you want to choose for yourself whether you want to have information collected or not, then use Startpage. Startpage, by choosing anonymous view, you're going to be protected. If you just choose clicking on the blue information URL, then yes, you'll be tracked. So these are a couple of sites that that you will see on the copy of this keynote presentation that I post to the club. But we've got some embedded information. I believe we do anyway. Yeah, go back here. Let me go back. Control tab, Command tab, Option tab. How do I go backwards? Go up. Yeah, there we go. Here's a little link for DuckDuckGo. Oh boy, you may not be able to see that. Can you see that?
Nope.
No. Okay. You'll have to click it for yourself. Go back to view. Oh my. Here we go. So you can find information using these URLs. You can screenshot them now, or when I post this to the bulletin board, you can download it. But here's a pretty neat video that I found from this guy up in Canada. So without further ado, it's 14 minutes. Warning, 14 minutes. Here we go.
No sound.
No sound.
You got to say start with
Okay.
sound.
I thought I clicked that. I guess I didn't click it before.
I think you have to do it when you start screen sharing.
Yes.
Left screen sharing, it needed to be done again. I think.
Then the bottom left, it says start,
Yeah, unmute.
start with sound.
Same as system. No. Audio settings.
It's when you go to start screen sharing, then in the bottom left corner, there's a checkbox for start with sound.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, here it is. Share screen. There it is. Share computer sound. Here we go.
There you go.
You are concerned about your privacy. And if you're not concerned about your privacy, well, you darn well should be. Our privacy is under constant attack. But we also are addicted to convenience and information. When we want to look for something online, we want to find it easily with small amount of effort. And the balancing act between our privacy and convenience is a teeter-totter that goes back and forth. Typically speaking, though, for the most part, we're giving away something all of the time for convenience, and that is privacy. And the king of, well, there's several kings. There's a whole royal family of different organizations that are scooping up our privacy, with Facebook and Twitter and Google right at the very top of that pyramid. Holy cow, I'm mixing my metaphors. But today we're going to talk about one way that you can recapture some of your privacy without giving up too much convenience. It has the very compelling name of DuckDuckGo. That's today on Dottotech. Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Today we are going to have a conversation about privacy, and this is always a bit of a minefield as we go through, because I teach you here on this channel how to use so many different tools, and many of those tools will invade our privacy in a variety of different ways. I'm a big fan of using Google's tools, Google's tool suite, but one of the things that Google does a lot is they take a lot of information from us and they utilize it in a variety of different ways. It's up to us as much as possible to recognize when we're giving up our privacy and what is happening with that. And in a lot of cases, we want to claw back some of that privacy. And there is a way that we can claw back some of it through the search engine that we choose. Now, most of us choose the default search engine that's installed with our browser. If we're using Chrome, we're using Google Search, and there's good reason to use Google Search because it's really, really good. But as you know, from when you go and do any search in Google, that all of a sudden you're going to be getting ads that are relating to what you're searching on, and some people are comfortable with that. Other people, not so much. Now, if you're not so much camp, then an option that you have is using a tool called DuckDuckGo as your search engine. So today, let's take a look at how you go about changing search engines and making DuckDuckGo your default search engine, and understanding a little bit about how that happens and what happens when you do that. Does that sound like a plan? All right, let's dive in. Take a look at the DuckDuckGo homepage, which describes their philosophy and their principles and gives us access to their tool. Now, you can quickly do a search on DuckDuckGo just by going to their homepage without installing them in your browser and not changing anything. But most of us prefer to do all of our searching from our omnibar, from our menu bar within our web browser. So we'll walk through that process as we go along. But visiting the DuckDuckGo homepage, we recognize that their big concern is to deliver privacy for us. And if you go through, you can read through that. You can add it to your browser and browse as usual. And they will tell us here that they won't store any personal information ever. Then you go, well, how do they make money then? Well, they make money through their advertising revenue by directly linking, when you're doing a search, to the ads sites that are relevant for that particular search. Not for some historical search, which is one of the ways that Google and Facebook and others make money, but it's just based on that one search. So they're not going to follow us around with ads after our initial search. You will get relevant information when you search, but it's the after that counts. They don't track you in and out of private browsing mode. They say here that other search engines track our searches even when we're in private browsing mode. That seems rather nasty and harsh, doesn't it? And you can switch back to DuckDuckGo. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can implement DuckDuckGo. They've got here the ability for you to add it to the browser that you're in. Now, when you add it to the browser, they're just going to automate a simple process that you can also do manually, which I'm going to show you right now. Here's where and how our browsers use search engines. Here in the top bar, this is the search bar. In Chrome, they call it the omnibar because it's doing more than search these days. But that's typically where we go in order to do a search. Now, we can control what browser this points at for searching, or what service this points at for searching, by going into our preferences. And this is going to work for all browsers. I'll quickly show it to you in the other browsers after. But here it is in Chrome. I click right here on search engine, and here I can see that the search engine used in the address bar is Google. If I change it, I have some presets loaded here. I can change it to DuckDuckGo. So if I change it to DuckDuckGo, watch what happens. all I do is when I open a new tab, look at what comes up. DuckDuckGo as a home page, and you see here in the address bar that DuckDuckGo appears here in the address bar. So let's do a quick search because we'll compare it with the Google search, because of course if it's not an accurate search, if it doesn't deliver what we're looking for, it doesn't do us much good then, does it? So I'm going to do a quick search for a product that I'm researching right now. I'm looking at the Rodecaster Pro. I'm looking at this new, it's a new audio interface. And so there we see the search results coming up, and we see that we're getting results from Rode, we're getting the results from BH Photo, which is a retail site, another retail site here, we're getting into some reviews of it, and we're getting some YouTube videos, so we're getting some reasonable results. And you can see here that DuckDuckGo also has the same classifications as we expect within Google search. We can search the web, we can also search for images, and there we see lots of different images of it. We can search for videos on it, and here it's bringing up a variety of different YouTube videos where people are reviewing it and looking at the product. Any news-related stories about it? 7 days ago, there was a story in Reverb.com. The Next Web did a story about a long time ago, so there hasn't been in the news an awful lot. And we can also go into shopping, which is going to bring it up the direct sales site on Rode, and I imagine we'll see Amazon links. Yes, we see Amazon links and other links here. So we're pretty much getting the same information as we would if we were searching in Google. Let's change, for argument's sake, let's change our search engine back to Google, and let's open a new window once again. I'm still in Chrome, and now, see, it's different. Now it's opening the Google search page, and when I search for the Rodecaster Pro here, here, the results are a little bit more integrated, because here's one thing. You see here on the side, the Evernote. This is because my Evernote account actually links to my Google account for search, and it searches my Evernote account at the same time. So that speaks to some of the differences we see. And we just see that Google basically formats the information differently, but we see the same basic results. We see the AV shop, a little more localized for me here because of Canadian retailers come up first. But then we have B&H Photo, which came up at the top. Rode came up at the very top. When we did the search in Rode for the same things, we saw, oh, indeed, we saw the Canadian site first and then Rode. So just a slightly different order, but the same basic information. So we go through, shopping is the next one, and we're going to see the same listings in the shopping site. And if we choose images, we got, of course, Google image search. It's going to show us all of the same kind of results. So you're not really missing out a lot. I think as far as accuracy goes, that regardless of which tool you use, you're probably going to find what you're looking for using DuckDuckGo versus using Google. So it comes down to how much extra privacy you get as a result. Now, before I leave, let's just jump quickly into Firefox. I'm going to open up Firefox because I want to show you that the same principles apply in other browsers. So I've got Firefox open here. If I go into the Firefox preferences, I see here that I have search. And if I go into search, I can choose what search engine I want to use as my default search engine. If I choose DuckDuckGo, I can choose DuckDuckGo. When I create a new tab, you can see that the searching is happening within DuckDuckGo. And it actually says right here that the search with DuckDuckGo is there. And if we need extra proof, if you're on a Mac, if we go into Safari, we open Safari preferences, and we have the exact same options here, just slightly laid out slightly differently. I already had DuckDuckGo chosen as my primary search engine within Safari, so you have the option within Safari to search as well, to change up and use DuckDuckGo if you choose to as your main search engine. Pretty easy to get your head around using and designating DuckDuckGo as your search engine, but is it worth it? I guess there's three questions that I have. First of all, is it really more private? Secondly, how do they make money? I always want to know and be sure that I am not being hoodwinked in some way in the revenue side. And the third question is, what am I giving up? Is it an inferior search engine, search experience to what I'm experiencing currently with Google? What do you think, Farley? You interested in this too? Farley seems interested in the topic as well. Go sit down, buddy. All right, so let's start with the first question, which is privacy. And I think we're just going to go straight to the duck for that and check out what DuckDuckGo says. And if you We'll put a link below. But this is their privacy page, and they state right up front and very firmly exactly what their position is as far as our privacy. If you are going to go through this process, I encourage you to go to this page and browse through the information. First of all, it's illuminating as far as how our privacy is undermined through other search engines and what they do with our information and where it goes and how much they collect. DuckDuckGo is very clear on what they're collecting exactly here. And I trust this particular document as being accurate. The second question I asked is, how does DuckDuckGo make money? I found a great post in What is the Business Model of, a site that I like to go to when I'm trying to figure out how online businesses earn revenue. And if I scroll down in this, we see the DuckDuckGo business model, and they describe it in detail. Again, I will share this in the link in the description below. But essentially, DuckDuckGo earns their money from search advertising and affiliate revenue. Search advertising means that when you do a search, that advertisers will post their search at the top of the search results, just as it happens within the Google universe. So you're going to be receiving search results as well as the organic results, which are often listed below. And the search results are demarked as ads. You can tell where they're ads. The second place that they earn revenue is through affiliate revenue, which we do actually here on this channel as well. If you click on a link to a retail site such as an Amazon or an eBay, if you make a purchase through the research that you've done and DuckDuckGo provided you with the feedback on, then DuckDuckGo makes a small affiliate fee. And those two business models alone are enough to keep DuckDuck going and profitable at this point. The third question that I asked is DuckDuckGo as good as Google? What are we giving up if we use DuckDuckGo? Again, great resource, which I have linked below, Search Engine Journal, one of my favorite sites for all things search engine related. And in their article, they have the pros and cons of using DuckDuckGo. Of course, the pros are the privacy, and they consider it to be a very clean and simple to use interface, and that's growing in popularity. All good things. But now let's talk about the cons. And they say straight up, it's not as good as Google. It's the mom and pop version of a search engine, while Google is the premium gold standard. DuckDuckGo simply doesn't have the resources of a big long-standing search engine, but it's getting more every year, and it's getting better and better as we go along. So that is really where the rubber meets the road for a lot of us. Do you need the most sophisticated search engine to find what you're looking for? In my own little tests that I've done between switching back and forth between Google and DuckDuckGo for the sort of searching that I do, and I suspect the sort of searching that most of us do, I think you're going to have just as good results from DuckDuckGo, because we're looking for fairly pedestrian and easy things to find. You're looking for a product, for a price, maybe you're looking for a recipe. The sort of searching that we all do, DuckDuckGo is very proficient at. It's when you get into the more sophisticated Boolean search type things where you're really diving in deep and in a research mode that you might find Google to be a far more efficient search engine. But the only way that you're going to tell is to try it out for yourself and see how it works. And as I showed you at the beginning, it's pretty easy to switch back and forth between the two. So you could spend a week in Google and a week in DuckDuckGo and make your determination yourself, and then determine whether or not the benefit of privacy is worth the slightly less efficient search engine that DuckDuckGo is. Now, I hope that you found this to be valuable. If you've not yet subscribed to Dottotech, I encourage you to do so. Subscribe to this channel and make sure that you ring the notification bell so that you hear when we upload any new videos. Also, I do want to mention to you, every week at Dottotech, we host a weekly tutorial webinar, which I think you might find fascinating. Again, there will be links below to our Webinar Wednesday series. They're free, and I encourage you to join us in some upcoming Wednesday. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming.
So, have I got audio?
Yes, you do.
Okay, because I took my earphones off.
But you didn't.
I found that guy to be pretty interesting. I was very impressed with him. His delivery is certainly affirmative and positive. But in talking about all this, I think that if you really want absolute, complete anonymity and privacy, DuckDuckGo is probably the way to go. But if you sometimes want to use Google and sometimes don't, then I like startpage.com. And I think that those are two excellent alternatives. Startpage, of course, uses Google. If you modify your settings, as we talked about earlier, with Startpage, I think you're going to be fine. But for extra insurance, belt and suspenders kind of, you can choose the anonymous choice on your search results. So there you have it. DuckDuckGo, Startpage, and Google Privacy.
So Rick, along the lines of what he was talking about there, how does Startpage make their money, and how secure is Startpage itself?
Well, Startpage uses Google. All that they offer you is an option to choose not to use Google. And actually in Startpage, you can choose to use any search engine that's available to you. I assume if you want to choose Dogpile or Bleco or Northern Lights, if it's still there, you can set your browser to use any of those with Startpage. I haven't checked that out, but I do know that with Startpage, you could even choose DuckDuckGo, which is, I think, overkill, because I like the concept of the Startpage using Google on a regular check. If I wanted to, for instance, earlier today, I was looking for some indoor doormats, and I went to Amazon. And I don't think that that makes a difference whether I'm going to be tracked or not. But if you wanted to be absolutely private so that your ISP and so that Google would not know that you're looking for indoor pages, you could use the anonymous view in startpage.com, or you could use DuckDuckGo. And DuckDuckGo just defaults to privacy.
Are they making any money? There's no ads.
Yeah, there are ads.
On Startpage?
On
Sure.
Startpage? I don't see any ads.
On Startpage.
Oh, but you'll get ads. You'll get
I
ads.
search for DVMUG, I get results, I get no ads.
Well, I
Nothing.
don't get, do you get any
Music site.
with Google? I don't-
Absolutely.
When I go to DVMUG on Google,
If I use Startpage and search for DVMUG, I don't see a single ad.
well, I'm going to look here, and I'm going to go to DVMUG on my iPad. Go to DVMUG.
Okay, on the Wikipedia page that I posted, Startpage, it says in October 2019, Startpage BV was acquired by the Privacy One group owned by ad tech company System One, leading to privacy concerns. Many of these concerns were alleviated by May 2020. That's how that's the last paragraph of the history.
Now, I just went to DVMUG on my browser in my iPad Pro, and I have no ads. I do
No.
I have
Go
an-
to startpage.com, type in DVMUG, look at the results. There's not a single ad on the page.
Well, I'm in Google, and I have no ads.
Oh, sure you do.
I have an ad blocker running.
Yeah, if
Well-
you've got an ad blocker running, then you may not see ads.
Yeah.
I don't see ads with Startpage either. I'm running an ad blocker.
I mean, all I see is results. I see anything but results.
Are you running an ad blocker, John?
Yes, I am.
No, there you
I'll
go.
pause it.
Duh.
I've been using DuckDuckGo for quite a while now for just mundane searches. It works fine, and I use it just because you don't have to dig 2 or 3 screens down through that pile of ads that Google lays
Okay.
on you to get to the
Ad blocker
meat of what
off.
you're doing.
Ad blocker is off. I still see no ads.
Well, I don't know what to
In
tell.
fact, I see no graphics whatsoever. It's all just text.
Okay, let me try this now.
Yeah, with my ad blocker off, I don't see any ads on.
I mean, there's not even a
Google
single
on my Mac.
graphic on the results page, not a graphic or a logo or nothing. It's just text.
Well, I used DuckDuckGo and I used Start Page, and I have no ads on either one of them. I'm looking at the Start Page results for DVMUG right now. Just white space on each side of the columns.
You
And
need to advertise more.
yeah. But chances are, when if I were to go to, say, Apple, come on, Apple.
Okay. I did a search for DuckDuckGo on Start Page, and the first thing is labeled like Google does, ad. It's an ad for DuckDuckGo.
Okay.
So DuckDuckGo must have purchased an ad on Start Page. So you don't just see random ads. Somebody had to buy. You don't see a DVMUG ad because we didn't purchase the DVMUG search term.
Well,
I'm not clear how.
I see some text ads.
Yes. Well, it's labeled like Google does the same thing. When you search on Google, right usually at the top, it'll say this is an ad. It says ad right at the top that it's an ad.
Yeah.
It looks like a search result. It's not a graphic, it's an ad.
Yeah. Now I just did in a DuckDuckGo search for DVMUG, and I have ad, and then there's
this is very interesting. In Start Page, I search for DuckDuckGo. It says ad, download and use now, and it's from newsdroid.com, not DuckDuckGo. That's some kind of a fishy deal. You don't download DuckDuckGo. This looks like some kind of malware or something.
Well, I don't see that. The first listing I have is ad for top.
This is Rick.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Well,
on Start Page, search for DuckDuckGo. The first thing is an ad, and it goes to a site to download something. You don't download something to run DuckDuckGo.
Well, that's on your machine. On my machine, I'm seeing something different.
All right.
The top one was top 10 answers for website search engines. The next one was website search engine under fastquicksearch.com. The next one was internetresults.com, free search engine. And then the next one down was DuckDuckGo.
This is not good. Search.
Why not?
Start Page send me to download malware for DuckDuckGo.
But that's your top one that says it's an ad, right?
It's an ad for malware.
Okay. So it's identified as an ad.
You want an ad for malware as your top hit when you do a search? That's terrible.
So are you talking about this? Let me see, where am I here? What happened? Oops. Never mind. Oops. How'd that happen?
This is terrible. Goes to unlimiteddownloads.net.
Are you talking about this right here?
No. No, I was on the Start Page.
Right. Okay.
And I searched for DuckDuckGo.
Yeah. And there it is.
I got a thing that says add to go to this malware site called Unlimited Downloads.
Okay.
To download DuckDuckGo, supposedly.
Well, why do you
You're
get
doing that on mobile?
I
turned off my ad blocker.
Right, so you turned off your ad blocker, turn it back on, because my ad blocker is on, and my first entry.
I would never use a page.
And there's no ad.
Then you know what?
Okay.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You want to use a search engine that when you have the ad blocker off, the first thing it has is an ad to go download malware.
That's probably what you'd get from Google, right? It's
No,
ad,
you would never get
and Google gives you ads.
Really?
They would never place an ad for
I think it's getting the
malware.
same. No, not on purpose, but they must be getting this. The start page is getting its search results.
Okay, do what you like. I'm just letting you know what I found.
Well, it seems to work well with ad blocker.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. It identifies it.
Over the last month. I know there's been some debate over, is this cause, will this?
Hello? It clearly identifies those top 3 entries as ads.
All right. When I do the same search on Google, I get an ad at the top, but the ad goes to DuckDuckGo, not the downloads of malware.
What about the DuckDuckGo app for iOS?
Okay.
Use
it. There's an app you can do, or you can set you can just go, like I have a bookmark for several different search engines, DuckDuckGo and Start Page. I can just go to that particular bookmark without having to turn on a separate app.
I got a question for you guys. What about searching in incognito? Doesn't that give you some protection? You just go incognito with whatever search engine you're using?
In Safari? There's no incognito in Safari, is there?
I thought most of them had that. Most of them had that. I thought.
Firefox, aren't you?
No, I don't use Firefox.
Or
I use
Chrome,
Safari,
maybe? I don't know.
once in a while Chrome, but mostly Safari.
Where do you see incognito?
I'm not sure. Let me go look at it.
But whatever works for you is fine. You know, I didn't put this on to make you all do what any of those, I'm not saying you have to use those methods. I'm trying
to
show you some options that you may choose to use as you're seeing. I'm trying to broaden your horizon a little bit. That's all.
Question, please.
Sure.
If you say that DuckDuckGo eliminates the cookies between usings, do you then lose your bank recognition when you try to sign into your?
No, it does not eliminate cookies. If you say sign into Politico or someplace that you have an account, the Washington Times, you have an account there, you subscribe, your cookies will be saved. It doesn't eliminate cookies, it eliminates it gives you in DuckDuckGo, it won't allow the browser to track where you've gone and send it back to somebody else. But it'll retain your cookies unless you say not to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick, going back
Quick
to your question. Where is it? In Safari, there is a new private window. If you go into
New
Safari.
private window, yes. In the file menu, new private window.
Ah, okay. Haven't used that.
I think that's a fairly new product they just came out with, like last change in Safari.
Ah, yeah, I have not used that or seen it.
We'll keep your browsing history private.
There you go.
It's been around since 2005. If you look on the Wikipedia page for private browsing, they list all the browsers and it goes back to Safari 4.4. And if you use the keyboard shortcut they mention, it works in the latest version.
Working in High Sierra.
What's the keyboard shortcut? I haven't got
Command Shift N.
Ah, okay. As
Actually,
opposed to a Command N for a new search, Command Shift N gives you a private search.
Yes.
Yes.
and in the preference section, you can also choose it to be your primary search.
That's good to know. That may do some harm to Start Page and DuckDuckGo.
Not if nobody knows about it.
Yeah. Well, we do now. You just told 30 of your friends and neighbors. I looked at the chats here and I see that there's been some good chats going while we've done our presentation. So Ken has been a co-host tonight, and he's been handling the waiting room and the notes. Where are you, Ken? Green shirt. My screen is upper right corner. So thank you, Ken. He's our newest member as well.
Kenji, you mean?
Kenji, you're not Ken, you're Kenji.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I put you
People
down.
don't call you Ken just because it's easier.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, I put you down in the database as Ken. Would you prefer it to be changed to Kenji?
Yes, that helps differentiate me from that other creep over on Planet Mug.
Okay. His alter ego.
Yeah, where I used to be a member, or I guess I still am, but now I'm here.
Apparently you'll be a member there forever, from what you said.
Yeah. So anything for the good of the order? Anybody got an idea of what we should talk about next week?
Yeah, Rick, I had mentioned this before, and I think John said when we get live workshops going again, we'll do it. But that is, I have a hard time with LastPass. It gets more confusing, and it's got new versions and things don't happen right. I can't. Maybe it's me, but I think other people that would use LastPass will have the same problem.
I don't know about
LastPass doesn't work for you because it's too complicated. Use the built-in Safari keychain. It's very simple. Just works.
Yeah.
It's not as sophisticated and as many features, but it basically does the same concept. It saves your passwords and enters them for you, and then password protected and the whole deal. They sync across your devices. And
Now, should my wife be using that? If my wife and I want to share some of our websites, some of our passwords, should we each, if we stay with LastPass, should each of us have our own LastPass?
Yes.
You have to.
As opposed to.
Well, not true. You could log into the same account and share the same account and have the same passwords for everything. It's probably not what you want, but
Yeah, we have different accounts that she uses and some I use and some we both use.
Well, then you can share them with each other. And LastPass has the feature to share your passwords with somebody else with a LastPass account so they can use them, but they can't see what they are or change them.
Okay, because at this point, I think there were only 3 or 4 passwords that were shared. I want to do many more than that.
Well, then you have to use LastPass. Safari won't do that.
Okay.
They may change that. There's rumor that in Big Sur, they're going to beef up Safari's password manager to give it more features like 1Password and LastPass. So you can add notes and who knows what they're going to do.
In the meantime, I'm stumbling along with it and I can't always figure it out. I try to go through their security program, the security check, and I just get so far and it becomes overwhelming. And that's me, I think.
Do you have access to YouTube?
Paid version.
There's a YouTube version of it?
No, I said, do you have the free version or the paid version?
The free version.
Okay.
Yeah, and it works fairly well for most of my sites, but sometimes it doesn't. I doesn't.
Yeah.
I just, Howard, I want to ask, why would you use or share passwords with anybody? I mean, with all due respect, it's your wife.
Because so you have an account you both need to access.
Yeah.
So you both need the password. If you share it with somebody else, you can give them the login. They can use it, but they don't know what the password is and they can't change it. So you can give access to an account to somebody who needs it, but they can't divulge the password to somebody else or screw it up.
Yeah, an example would be the greeting card website that we pay what, $15 a year for greeting cards. Sometimes I send a birthday card to somebody. Sometimes my wife will send a birthday card to somebody else. But we use the one paid website that we go into with the same password. And so sharing that makes it easy for either one of us to go in and send somebody a birthday card or an anniversary card or whatever.
Get into her computer, fire up LastPass, and type that information in for her.
Yeah, you could put it into hers and have it saved on hers and saved on yours both.
Yeah.
That's
You don't
my
have
goal.
to,
That's
that's not sharing. That's like manually going and entering it.
Yep.
And saving it in both accounts.
So she should have a separate account for LastPass if she wants to use it.
If your goal is to share your password with somebody else and they don't know what it is and they can't delete it or change it or screw it up, then you need to do the sharing feature. She has the password for the greeting card site. She could go in and change the password and lock you out by screwing it up somehow.
Well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
Well, by mistake even.
By mistake, she could screw it up.
Right.
Example.
Or if you want to share the password with somebody, but you don't want them to know what it is because it's sensitive and you don't want them giving it to somebody else without your knowledge, you share it with them. They can use it, but they don't know what it is. That's
Another example is that somebody goes to type in your password and maybe you've got a capital in the middle of it and they forget to hit the shift key and keep trying and they say, wrong password, would you like to change your
it.
And then bingo, you're now locked out. So
right. They change it. They have the capacity to change it because they know what it is. But if it was shared, they wouldn't have the capacity to change it.
Yeah, it's only one person. It's just my wife and I. That's the only people I really person to share with. Nobody else.
It's always easy to make a typographical error.
But with LastPass, you don't have to type. You just, you don't have to type.
You have to type it originally to save it.
Yeah, originally, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't share it but manually go to her computer, you have to type it in correctly and save it on her computer.
Right, right.
If you share it, it just works. You don't have to do anything.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
That's what the sharing feature does.
If she's got 100 passwords and I've got 100 passwords, we may want to share 25. The other 75 we keep separately.
No.
So
that's what the
I've got to work on it more. But I don't know. Other people may have a similar need for support with that. I don't know. I'll keep working on it.
I've never had occasion to check their support, but don't they have a support line?
Yeah. But it becomes hard for me. I'm an older generation of Apple users, and the new technology is getting me.
I see. Before computers, you wouldn't stop at the service station to ask where the such and such a street was, huh?
Yeah.
And then they give you the wrong way to get there.
Yeah.
Well, that's only when you're in Japan.
Okay, guys. Well, I think I'm going to go make dinner.
Hold on. If we're ready to stop, I'll get ready to
time you
stop
want
the
us over
recording
there,
here. Everybody say bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Rick.
Wave.
Bye.
See you later,
Thanks for
alligator.
presentation.
Next week.